answer behind what makes us who we are based on the type of hair we have, to our personality, to our skin tone, is our DNA. DNA is made up of genes that we get from our parents. DNA makes proteins that make cells, that form tissues, that make organs, that form organ systems, also known as you. The four ingredients involved in DNA are A, T, G, and C: adenine, thymine, guanine, and cytosine. They bind together with hydrogen bonds to create the double helix structure of the DNA. Purines, which are longer, are always made of A and G, which join with the pyramids T and C, which are shorter. A and T always go together, and G and C always go together. Genes, which are patterns of nucleotides, are made through two processes: transcription and translation. Transcription is the process where DNA makes a copy of itself, RNA, to form amino acids, basically just a photocopy of itself. During this process, thymine changes to uracil, so a new coat is formed. This is called codon.
Following that stage, the codon produced forms amino acids to make a protein chain. 20 possible amino acids are needed per chain. An analogy would be Lego blocks. A mutation in this process can cause a genetic disorder. So now that we know how DNA functions, what causes us to inherit our physical and personality characteristics? Our characteristics come from our parents. A sperm cell from our dad and an egg from our mom fertilize to create a cell, which divides through mitosis to produce us. Many genetic disorders are formed before birth, such as albinism. We can see how we inherit these traits using a Punnett square. Dominant traits are seen more commonly and are expressed in capital letters, but recessive are seen less and expressed in lowercase letters. Someone with albinism has a recessive mutation, therefore it's from both parents and has a 1 in 4 chance of being albino. The Human Genome Project analyzed and mapped out all the genes in the human body. There's over 30,000 genes and 3 billion strands in our bodies.
Who we are depends on how our genes react and the mutations that can be afflicted on them. Our phenotype, who we are on the outside, depends on the genotype, or our combinations of genes inside. Since we know how our genes are mapped out, maybe we could go in and change them, modifying ourselves. That brings us to the question: if we can map out our genes, can we go in and reverse albinism? First of all, what is albinism? Albinism is a recessive mutation in a gene called tyrosinase, which makes a pigment called melanin. Melanin is what gives color to our hair, skin, and eyes. People with albinism have a lack of melanin. Since it's homozygous recessive, it must be from both parents, although both parents may not be albino because it is recessive. People with albinism are fair in complexion, skin, or hair color. Eyes appear lighter and in some cases red.
It is possible to test your child before birth using a process called amniocentesis, inducing a needle into the uterus to obtain fluid. Cells are examined to see if albinism is present. Although there is no cure, scientists are still trying to discover ways to cure it. Gene therapy, which is the permanent correction of effective genes, is still in the works to conquer genetic diseases for good. One way to cure this disease is by injecting the virus with the proper gene to the appropriate location, spreading the new gene, therefore reversing the gene to produce more melanin. Although there's no true cure for albinism, many albinos can lead normal lives like you and I and should not be discriminated against for their biological makeup. Thanks for watching!